Hello again, this is Mousecutter, and I'm giving you another look at space engineers. So, this is a project that I started, and I've been working on for a little bit. This is a large ship that I've been building, and right now it's pretty much still in construction. It's kind of in the skeleton stage, I would just like to go through it and show you kind of what all is involved in building something like this. So the first thing we have here is we have these doors, and they're attached to pistons. So what these will do, and I do have them connected, something I kind of showed you earlier with the control panel is the controls, but this is the left hangar door. So I have grouped the pistons involved in this together. So now, let's see if we can speed that up a little bit. There we go. I can... What happened? Left hangar door. Oh. Okay. Some settings on it got changed. So the hangar door is now closing. It's closing kind of slow, but we did that for safety. Let's see if I can squeeze in here before it squishes me. So you can see this is how it would look if you, once it gets walled off, you would essentially not see any of those internal guts, and that door would just open and close. And, that just shows you one of the things you can do. Now, these are some large cargo containers, and they're attached by the piping that I kind of talked about in the previous video. And that piping actually goes underneath the ship. And this would all be covered up in the future. But as you see here, that piping, it all collects in, and then goes the full length of the ship. And that goes through a series of large cargo containers. And then up into the engineering section, which I'll show you in a little bit. So just to show you just kind of like how you would supply different areas, that's how you would essentially do it. So that in the operation of the ship, let's say a cargo ship came through this door, and then you could offload the cargo from that cargo ship into this hangar, and then you would put it in the large cargo containers here, and because they are piped up, they would go to the other parts of the ship. So a lot of the construction of this is not complete, especially the interior. You do have these little security turrets, and there's a little room in there, which I haven't really decided exactly what it's going to be. It could either be a cargo room or maybe even a security room, considering that this is a very vital part of the ship. So we have a little bit of glass here on this upper level, so you can look down in the hangar. Go ahead. Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't have any gravity on the ship yet. Well, at least not this part. I have gravity on part of the ship, just not that part. So we've got our little airlock. So far, they don't have pressurization in this game. It's something I hope they add sometime in the future. May or may not happen, but in case it ever becomes an issue, I have a airlock, because obviously that hangar is not going to be the most sealed, and not only that, it's going to be opening and closing, and we're immediately going to be in our crew compartment, so you don't really want to have crew compartments open to vacuum ever. So for that reason, I put a little airlock in there. So right away, we're going to get into our bridge. Now the bridge is again not completed, so we don't have any of the control mechanisms or anything, but we've got this nice glass way of looking out. In the next room, we have our medical room. So you've got some medical facilities here. Again, this is not necessarily all that complete or in its final configuration, but I kind of decided already that that would be the medical room. Over here, again, this room has pretty much nothing in it, but I have kind of decided that maybe this would be a conference room where officers would have a briefing on, missions, or maybe just a lounge or something for the crew. Maybe even like where they would go to eat, or like a cafeteria, whatever, multi-purpose. Here we have various crew compartments, and they're all going to be pretty much the same. And again, they're unfinished so far. But, you have your little, glass, window that you can look out to see the exterior. Now, I'm going to, obviously, parts of this is going to be changed as I add on the exterior of the ship. As I said, this is more or less the skeleton. So that, you've got crew quarters all the way down this hallway. And then we have, down on this lower level, we have more crew quarters. And it's kind of frustrating because I don't have the gravity in here yet. So these are just more crew quarters. So I think there's a total of 20 rooms. Alright, now we have gravity, because we're getting close to the engineering section, and the engineering section does have gravity in it. So we're going to go ahead and go in here. So we have a number of little pathways here. And before I go too far, this is the main core entrance to the engineering section. And we have a little security room in here, so they have a glass, and because this is like one-way glass, so as much as you can kind of see in there, it's much more clear in there. So this is a security room, so they can keep an eye on people going into engineering. And again, you have some security turrets. Now you could remove these. I haven't really decided on the mission of the ship, whether it would be a civilian ship or a military vessel. So you could obviously take out the turrets if you wanted to make it more a civilian ship. And here we have a gyroscope room. This is just a room that's full of gyroscopes. This is going to be a quite large ship, and it's going to be pretty heavy when it's done. So the more gyroscopes I have, the better the ship will be able to maneuver. And if we continue along this way, we have, this is just more or less just a viewport into the engineering. So we have engineering here. So we have our main reactors, which are connected together by a series of pipes. So those pipes that we saw earlier that were going underneath the ship, they connect into the large reactors to power the reactors. You can obviously see some more reactors in there. We also have some batteries, which are the things that are connecting that battery and that battery. That thing in the middle is a battery. So it gives you like some auxiliary power, or a secondary power in case your power source runs out. The reactors do require uranium to run, so those batteries, if the uranium ran dry, would give you some auxiliary power so that the ship could still function. And here we have the entrance to the security room. So this is maybe a storage room for the security people to use. And then this is the main security room, so they can observe people coming in and out of engineering. They do have an entrance to engineering in case they need to come in here and stop anybody from doing anything bad. But this is the entrance that you would use if you are normal personnel. You would come through here. The security personnel would check you out and clear you through to this side, and then you have your view into engineering. So we've got glass that the engineering section is behind. I kind of drew inspiration from this from Next Generation. If you've ever seen Next Generation, they would always have the warp core behind like a glassed-in section. So that's kind of my inspiration for that. So if we come over here, we can actually get into the reactor area, and we can actually look in and maintain our reactors. And you'll see down here, that's where that pipe comes up and pipes in to these two reactors here. And we have our gravity generator, and as I said, our batteries. So going along, let's go to the outside of the ship. So far, I don't really have any other entrances to the ship other than the main hangar. I may modify that later, because as you can see, it's quite a trip to get to the exterior part of the ship. But on the other hand, from a security standpoint, that could be a very good thing, because you're actually having to go through a number of security checkpoints before you can get to the outside of the ship. Or actually, I guess from the outside to the inside is technically what you're caring about. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go outside. And I have another set of doors on this side, just like I do on that side. And pretty much all that's complete so far is we have a little bit of the engines being worked on. So essentially, this is all going to be, closed off. And I kind of hiding away some of the engines so that you won't be able to see them. I will also probably have more engines on the rear part here of the ship. But that just gives you an idea of kind of like what I'm doing to like propel the ship. I still do not have the up and down directions taken care of. I do have left and right because this nacelle is mirrored on the other side. So left and right are taken care of. And just so in case you're wondering, to get a ship to work, you're going to have to have propulsion in all directions, and you're also going to have gyroscopes, because without gyroscopes you cannot control your ship, and it will just spin out of control. So the more gyroscopes you have, the more maneuverable your ship will be, and also the more gyroscopes you have, the better it will be able to resist damage, because if you have only one gyroscope and your gyroscope gets damaged, then your ship will then drift out of control. So the gyroscopes are very important. Having more than one is a security measure to make sure that your ship does not get disabled. And then obviously you need a power source to power all of the different ship systems, which we saw inside in those large reactors. And then gravity is not something that's really required, but it helps for allowing your crew members to move around without having to use jetpacks, which, as you saw, using a jetpack in the interior, going through doors and such, is somewhat a little bit challenging, just because you're having to fit through those doors with not the most precise controls. So in that regard, it's better to have gravity and just be able to walk through the doors, because you're already in the right orientation with the gravity. So I hope you've enjoyed a little look at construction of a ship that I've been working on. This is obviously a large ship. And I'm building it in an empty space. So as I told you, you can have different, in my first video, you can have different starting worlds. This world is completely empty. So there's no asteroids, no bases, no nothing. Nothing besides just the ship I'm working on. This is in creative mode, so I can work on it. And just kind of hash out some ideas and, experiment with some different ideas. And maybe you get a kind of a Star Trek-y feel with this ship. That's not really what I was going for, but kind of getting that look to it. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.